and welcome to the show. It's your host here, Juanita Morel. I am super excited to be on the show today. We have so many exciting and interesting topics to discuss, including what's new and what's happening at SegenSolar. It looks like we have a special treat here today. We have the Managing Director of SegenSolar, Mr. James Shirley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anita. Pleasure to be here as always.
Thank you. Now that we know he's the Managing Director of SegenSolar, would you like to just tell us a little bit more about who James is?
So James is a dad, two sons.
Okay.
James is a people person in terms of looking after our people. My responsibility is to make sure that our customers, our staff, and the end users are all sorted out.
Okay.
My journey into the solar business began in 2008.
Oh, wow.
2009 being my first full year, and I've played positions in EPC role, in OEM role, and in distributor role.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, James, in my hands, I have a pack of cards. No. This is not the typical King, Queen, and Joker cards. These are a pack of questions we have for you today. Are you excited to answer all these questions for us today?
I hope so. I don't know the questions, so I hope I will be.
Okay. Are you ready for question number one?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Let the fun begin. What is your experience in the solar industry?
In the solar industry. Juanita, I joined the solar industry in 2008.
Okay.
With an EPC company. Then in 2013, joined a large global corporate as head of their solar business. In 2020, left to join a local listed company to head up their energy business before being asked by Segen to join in 2024 as part of our cultural shift. Not just for South Africa, but for the UK, for Germany, and for US. We replaced all the MDs at once to focus on people. In and amongst my time, I've served my time as chairman of the Sustainable Energy Society for 4 years. I sat on the South African Renewable Energy Council for 2 years.
Wow.
I lecture on energy and digitization. I've lectured at GIBS, at UJ. I've done some guest lectures at WITS as well. So been around, served my time.
Yes, you have.
And acted in an EPC capacity, in an OEM capacity, and as a distributor.
Okay. In your recent press release, Segen talked about Sunsynk. Kindly brief us on that.
Yeah, so Sunsynk has been around and is really the market leader in residential inverters, moving into some of the smaller C&I space, residential market. They recently split with one of their biggest and longest standing partners as well, leaving the remaining three around, and with the addition of a new distributor as well. For us, we exist now as the number one distributor. And of course, number one being not just the thousands and thousands and thousands of systems that we've sold of the Sunsync range, but also in terms of our support. Sometimes it hasn't been easy to access us. We've done a lot of shifting in the last year to improve our customer service across the board. But for us, being number one is not just about the volume. Of course, that's important, but it's also about making sure that our customer base is looked after and that they don't want to go anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How will these service centers benefit installers in South Africa and across the borders, SADC regions?
Okay, so the service centers, we put out a press release towards the end of last year explaining what we were doing there. And as part of that cultural shift we spoke about and getting closer to where our customers do business, we are opening service centers around the country.
Okay.
So for South Africa, we have 11 planned. We opened Durban November last year. We have Johannesburg, East Rand, and Pretoria opening March.
Okay.
From there, we have Bombela and Bloemfontein we have slated for April opening. As we move towards 11 in the country, of course, we have Johannesburg, West Rand already open, and we have Cape Town already open.
Wow.
Then outside of South Africa, we are looking at multiple countries through Southern Africa or through Sub-Saharan Africa, in fact. First on that list will most likely be Tanzania. But we're also in talks for Zambia and some of the other countries there.
As well. Okay.
Our target is also to have 11 spread throughout Sub-Saharan Africa, outside of South Africa.
Outside, wow.
Yeah, the focus there is really not just as a service center, but it's really a customer support center. So we have an account manager or a salesperson inside that if you come in, they can sit with you, they can answer some questions about the commercial side of things. We have technical sales assistants in there that can support you with a system design.
Okay.
Remember, our job is not to do the design for you, but it's to give you advice and support you and work through that.
Okay.
And of course, either to do repairs on site or do a triage on a product that you bring into us, let you know what the situation is, and either it may need to be serviced by us or sent back to the manufacturer to do the work on, or if there's nothing we can do about it, to be able to offer you a replacement right there on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, James, for your valuable insight. What if I cannot afford a system? What options do installers have?
So the installers, and the reason we talk to installers is our customer base is installers. Our customer base is not the end user.
Okay.
Our role is to support the installers to supply systems to the end user. In order to do that, we facilitate Segen Finance, or we have Segen Finance to facilitate one of 4 options. The first option is an asset-based finance.
Okay.
People may call it a rent-to-own.
Okay.
In other words, the system is installed, there's a monthly fee, and at the end of that term, the asset transfers to the end user.
Okay.
We also have a rental option where the asset is never owned by the end user.
Okay.
They would pay a monthly rental,
Okay.
and the tax, there's a tax incentive to do so. In other words, because it's OPEX and not CAPEX, you can write that off your business expense. At the end of the term, however, you do not own the asset.
Okay.
Okay. It continues to be rented month after month, so it never sits on your balance sheet. It's off your books. Anything goes wrong, the asset owner needs to come in and do that repair and replacement for you.
Okay.
So that's the rental option.
Okay.
Option number 3, we call mezzanine finance or bridging finance. That's really aimed at our commercial and industrial customers that are looking at projects. And sometimes cash flow is a large issue. So what that does is it allows the customers to get goods on site and make payments 30, 60, up to 90 days later on. Allowing them to ease the cash flow, opening up new opportunities which they may not have had before. And then our 4th option in Segen Finance is really for the customers in sub-Saharan Africa, where one of the biggest barriers or one of the biggest costs that they face is actually the shipping cost to site. Yeah, so we've got to get it through the border up there.
Yes.
And that option allows, very much like mezzanine finance, where you can pay the solution off over up to 90 days. But it allows us to ship a complete container to a client, and they can draw off week by week or month by month and only pay a fee on the remaining balance. Okay, so not only do they get the advantage of paying bit by bit, but they also get the cost savings reduction on all of the logistics to get it there.
Wow.
Yeah. And Segen Finance is live, and it is remarkable. Right? It's a really nice offer where you can make one phone call.
Definitely.
And we have different offers for many different types of clients.
Wow. Are we launching rockets anytime soon in SA?
We are not launching rockets or catching them, but we are launching Tesla.
Okay.
So the news came out just a few days ago. We've obviously known about it for a while, but we're really, really excited. February is training month. So we have events happening in Johannesburg, we have events in Cape Town and in Durban.
Okay.
I think they might already be all not just subscribed, but oversubscribed, almost double.
Wow.
I think Durban, we may have a little bit of room left. But certainly Joburg and Cape Town are really, really full. If anybody does want to go through the training for certification, please be in touch with us.
Okay.
And because of the space limits, we would have to provide a reason as to why we need to allow that. So we will be the second distributor. Of course, in the UK, we are the only distributor of Tesla.
Wow.
And in South Africa now, we've been waiting behind, but now we can finally launch. So we're really, really excited about that.
I'm sure you are.
February training. March launch date, in other words, able to accept orders. April, the first deliveries will start happening. And this is on the Tesla new product range.
Oh, wow.
Really exciting.
That's remarkable, Joe. That would have been so cool, though, with the rockets. With the ongoing electricity hikes in South Africa, how do you see the demand for solar evolving, and what opportunities does this create for installers?
That's an excellent question. So 2024 was a wild year. We went from a situation where we had load shedding worse than it's ever been to a situation where there just wasn't load shedding for the rest of the year, right? From April to the end of the year, which left the market in turmoil because everybody had stock to cater for load shedding. And it's not about the amount of stock or the value of the stock. It's actually about the type of stock. And all of a sudden, that market bottomed out. So 2024 was a really difficult year, I think, for a lot of the solar distributors that were sitting with stock. You're ordering 2-3 months ahead to bring it into the country to meet the need, and now that need's gone. Luckily, certainly for us, and I think for many of the other distributors, we're through that now. So what's happened is the profile of stock has changed. The buying needs and the buying habits have changed. People are not buying just for backup power anymore. People are buying for financial reasons now,
yes.
right? It's not about not having energy or having energy. It's about the cost
of it. Yes.
Of course, Eskom's increase was only 12%, even though they've been asking for 3 times that. So the costs haven't gone up that much, but the business case still exists. So we've seen continued demand, and in fact, month after month, we're seeing increased demand. Right. A lot of the customers, even though the residential market is down, the commercial and industrial market is certainly up.
Okay.
Right? Because there, you're putting in a quote, you're waiting 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And anytime we go through a capital investment, we have board meetings, we have to wait for the next one. And the market's seeing a lot of that coming through now. Right? The decision-making criteria have changed. On top of that, then, the business case for solar has never, ever been better. Certainly not in my time in the business. It is now cheaper to buy solar panels, inverters, and in fact batteries than it ever has been before. I don't think we'll be able to sustain these low levels because of the market reducing stock, right? The prices have been artificially low.
Okay.
So I expect that even if global prices did come down, our prices were below that anyway. So I expect we will probably see an increase in pricing in the coming year. And that's just a market correction. One of the things we've seen is as we've bought new stock in to replace demand, customers saying, wow, why has it gotten to that price? And the answer is, well, it was always that price. The distributors just weren't losing money to get to that price.
Okay. Well, this gets us to our last and final question. How is Segen Solar ensuring its products and services align with these new Eskom regulations?
So, the Eskom regulations are not new.
Okay.
They've been around for a while.
Okay.
And Eskom is now just making a big push to enforce them. As Segen Solar, we are not the installer of the product, so we are unable to put in the request for the customer.
Okay.
It's really around the connection to the grid.
Okay.
So, my personal opinion is Eskom is scoring an own goal. In an energy-constrained country, they are forcing customers to want to go off-grid. Right? My home, for example, I've moved completely off-grid because rather than pay a whole lot of money to actually connect to the grid and feed in all my excess energy for free, right? I wouldn't even need money back. I produce extra, my batteries are full, I could feed in. In my particular case, I've simply put in enough and I can just switch it off. The cost for Eskom, or for me to comply with what they would want me to do, I could put in a whole lot of extra panels, battery or two, and run away from that. So I'm not particularly a fan of it. I fully understand and support the need for safety. I am concerned, though, that in an attempt to try and push that, it's not a realistic approach.
Yes.
And it's creating people that have money, that are willing to pay for electricity, that are willing to feed electricity back in, and it's just pushing them off grid, which is not effectively a great strategy, right?
Absolutely.
What would be a much better strategy is a partnership. There are some municipalities that are far more interested in having a partnership than Eskom's view on it, where we become prosumers. In other words, you consume, but you also inject back in. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
From Segen's perspective, we can support with hardware to achieve what Eskom's looking for. We have all of that in stock.
Okay.
All of our products comply with the NRS requirements. In other words, those are the national standards that are required for connection. Well, for the inverters to connect anyway. So we do comply.
Okay.
All the warranties meet or exceed any minimums, any basics. We have service centers that are coming up all over. We have products that not only allow for the inverters or the batteries or the panels, but also balance of plant. So all of the connection equipment, your circuit protection, your what they call wiring devices we have. But I'm still not convinced that it's the right strategy.
Okay.
From Eskom's side.
From Eskom's side. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Any final thoughts?
So my thoughts are the technology is proven. The costs are as good as they're going to be. I know a lot of people do not feel the pain now, and so there's no reason to invest in a solar system. But it makes a lot of sense. Like I said earlier, it's the cheapest it's ever been. It's a good time to expand the system. It's a good time to get ready. And by the way, for those people that have either just unplugged their batteries because there hasn't been load shedding, or they've disconnected their systems, or they haven't done anything, speak to your installer. Ask them just to come and do a health check on your system, right? If something has changed, you won't know because there has been little or no load shedding, and you don't want to get caught in a situation where all of a sudden something has happened, something is wrong, maybe the batteries are old and they're no longer valid. Get that sorted out now so that if load shedding does come back, you're okay, right? Or you can use less energy from the grid for what you're producing already, right? Cycle those batteries properly. Check your settings, clean your panels, make sure your system is on the latest firmware version, make sure it's optimized so that you're using as little energy as possible. Save yourself the money by doing so, and avoid any potential shortage should load shedding come back, because now everybody has reduced their stocks to a level that is not load shedding based. So we don't want to go through another scenario where, like happened in 2023, where there was no stock in the country, everybody was rushing to get everything, and the prices just spiked, and you had to wait forever to get your system. So that would be my advice.
Okay, well, good advice there from the MD himself. Till next time, God bless.